Hey guys, today's topic is potential evidence for protected work environment claims. When I'm talking about protected work environment claims, I'm talking about a protected or sheltered work environment, and this is primarily associated with TDIU claims. TDIU stands for Total Disability Based on Individual Unemployability. I know a lot of you think that 3,100 is a lot of money and you could get by. That is true for a lot of veterans, but for some, with families and stuff like that, you need TDIU and a job. And this is where the protected work environment or the sheltered work environment comes into play. And that's what we're talking about today. Before we go into it, there are a few qualifiers about the income restrictions, as well as what the VA considers a protected work environment. They don't really spell it out, although there have been court rulings, so they're kind of spelling it out on a case-by-case basis. If you're on TDIU, you're limited to how much income you can have. The limit is called Marginal Employment, and it's the federal poverty level. And for a single person, it's $13,300 a year or $1,108 a month gross before taxes. TDIU compensates you at the 100% compensation rate, even though you have a 40 or a 70% rating, but you're paid at the 100% rate. When it comes to TDIU, VA considers a veteran's employment marginal if the veteran earns less than the federal poverty threshold, right? VA also understands that some employers will make major accommodations for veterans with disabilities. And this is where the protected work environment or the sheltered work environment comes in. So you're either going to have some kind of easy peasy part-time job where you're under the federal poverty level, or you're going to be working at a job where you make more, but your employer makes these serious accommodations for you. And we're going to go over those. Before I get into the examples, I want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this kind of content and you like it. And also the Combat Craig hashtag contest is in effect. Every video I hide a keyword, military phrase with a hashtag in front of it. And then I go in with a random comment generator and I select somebody and we go one-on-one and talk about your VA claim. So that's in effect in this video. Here's when I announced it. The one-on-one with Combat Craig. Hashtag was Desert Storm. Got it loaded up in here. Get YouTube comments. And let's do a random winner. Who's it going to be? Sean. I've reached out to you and give you my phone number. So get your stuff together and we'll do one-on-one for an hour and see if I can help you with your VA claim. Sheltered work environment, protected work environment. If I was actually employed by VA Claims Insider, what I do could be considered a sheltered work environment. I just make videos. I don't interact with people because they piss me off and I argue with everybody. It's funny that it's called sheltered work environment because I am in a basement. So I'm actually in a sheltered work environment. You know, don't answer emails, don't answer phone calls. Just have Combat Craig doing the videos stuff. And I'm actually in a shelter in my basement, so whatever. Funny. Speaking of VA Claims Insider, if you need help with your VA claim, you can sign up below at combatcraigwins.com. You'll be assigned a veteran coach, and they will help you develop a strategy for your claim, and then he will get you in front of the right doctors that you're going to need to build a strong claim for yourself. It's all about strategy and the right kind of medical evidence. I hired VA Claims Insider last year, and they got me to 100% P&T. So that's why I highly recommend them. There's lots of other options out there for you. It just worked for me, and that's why I refer them to you. While I was doing research for this video, I live out in the country, so I have a practical understanding of a protected work environment. You know, doing seasonal harvesting of crops for the family farm, or, you know, helping your brother, you know, cut down trees to sell them for firewood or something like that, or build custom furniture. So kind of living out in the country, you know, you have the family business, and then there's an accommodation made for you and your disabilities. So that would be one example of a sheltered or protected work environment. situation that you could use for your TDIU claim. Of course, there's no list of a sheltered or protected work environment that I'm aware of. VA does understand that people on TDIU got to have a sense of purpose, and a job does that to a degree. We can look at past court cases and see how they ruled and how they defined protected work environment. But generally speaking, it means you're paid just like everybody else you're working with, but your accommodations are completely different. Let's say you're excused from critical functions of your job. A special accommodation is made for you. Like literally a dark room is set up for you if you have migraines. So depending on how prostrating they make you, which they come on like that if you have migraines, there's a little dark room for you to go crawl into if you can't bolt home and you're not close. And that's it. You're done for the day. It could be hours, could be a half hour, whatever. Your boss might have to give you a ride home later on in the day. That would be an example of a protected or sheltered work environment. You might not have to attend company meetings and functions and stuff like that because you're just not good around people because of anger issues. I would fall into that category. Let's say you're a great carpenter and you're actually good with tools, unlike me. But you work at half the pace as the rest of the construction crew because you have TBI. You're getting paid just like everybody else, but you're doing half the work. Like in a normal situation, that's just fired. But this is a great example of a protected work environment. Everybody's making 80 grand a year. You're also making 80 grand a year, but you're producing half the work, still getting paid. Another example is like you suffer from combat PTSD, sleep apnea, serious insomnia, so you don't get much sleep. That might sound familiar. So you're totally unreliable. Sometimes you don't show up because you finally fall asleep at 8 o'clock because it's the first time you've slept in a couple days. You don't get your pay docked. You don't get fired. Your employer understands your situation. And this is another good example of a protected work environment. I mean, these employers are going way out of their way. They're letting you work half of what everybody else does. They're understanding when you just don't show up at all. Whatever clients you had to call or whatever, like they just dump it off on somebody else and you don't get fired. Serious accommodations. These two examples clearly show examples of special accommodations being made. A lot of veterans with PTSD are truck drivers because they prefer to be alone. I get that, but it is not considered an automatic protected work environment unless the trucking company you work for allows you to drive half as far as all of the rest of the guys and you deliver half the cargo. That would be an example. So just being like on the road as a truck driver, it in itself does not qualify as a protected work environment. It's a special kind and you're on your own. I get that. But the trucking company would have to be paying you the same rate as everybody else, but you deliver half the goods or whatever it is. I've given you a few examples. Now let's talk about potential evidence for protected work environment claims. Wide variety of evidence that could be used. One key piece of evidence is a statement from your employer. He should include the specific accommodations made for you, the duties you're excused from, and examples of situations where exceptions have been made for you. Like I put a cot with air conditioning and I blacked out the windows so he could go deal with his migraines. He writes it out on a statement. It's also important for the employer to tie in each of these accommodations back to the effects of your disability. So a statement of your fellow employees would also be important. This isn't really a buddy letter situation. This is you explaining how your work environment is protected and why you should be paid at the 100% rate, receive TDIU, and also have an $80,000 a year job because of these super special accommodations. So boss making very specific examples of how he's bending over backwards, put the little dark room for you. Your coworkers, like, yeah, this guy I wish I could have a dark room. You know what I mean? Like statements from those kinds of people you work with would be a great piece of potential evidence. You may also want to include Social Security Administration descriptions of the typical duties involved in the type of work that you do. or the role that you have, or anything that would allow the VA to see that they're widely accepted critical functions of your job that you're excused from. A copy of the employer's own job description would be helpful. Now you have also a vocational expert would probably be good for this as well. So Social Security knows what the typical jobs are, using truck driver as an example. If the job description from the employer says you drive whatever it is, 8 hours a day or 10, or I don't know what it is, and then you're driving 4, that would be a good way to do it. Social Security could also help. I just want to kind of get in and talk about potential evidence for protected or sheltered work environment claims. I'm going to be making more TDIU videos in the future. It's a big topic, and I want to kind of take it in bite-sized pieces. A subscriber asked me about protected or sheltered work environments, so I wanted to make this video for him, and here it is. If TDIU is not the route for you and you're looking for some easy VA disability claims to win, then take a look at this video right here. See if it's something that you suffer from, and it might be a easy VA disability claim for you to file for and win.